Hello and welcome back to the Librarian of the Rings. My name is Ben, I'm the librarian, and today we've got a special treat for you. Today we are going to be unboxing the Hobbit Little People set. So you may have seen in the background of my videos before these little people up here. This is from the Fellowship set, although it's not the entire Fellowship and includes Arwen for reasons that are unknown to me, but that's these little people up here. But they also have a couple of Hobbit sets. There are two Hobbit sets actually, which are almost identical, except that the Frodo figure, which is here, is actually the invisible Frodo in the other set. So this is a set. One of my daughters got this as a gift for me recently because she loves little people and I like the Lord of the Rings. Obvious. And so this is kind of the perfect matchup for us here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and unbox this. First, I'm just going to let you have a look at the packaging here. The packaging is obviously branded with the font from the movies, and these are obviously based on the movie characters. Definitely a movie thing here, playing off of the Peter Jackson trilogy. So we have the Lord of the Rings written and we have Hobbits written here on the bottom, so that we know that it's the Hobbit set, in case we couldn't tell that just by looking at it. So it includes the 4 Hobbits from the Fellowship. So you have Sam and Frodo and Merry and Pippin here. And they all look like they've been really well sculpted. Now I have a Frodo from the Fellowship set that I will go ahead and compare this one to, but they are a little bit of different figures. And then on the back, we have this beautiful picture of little people hobbits having themselves a meal together, and then it lists the Hobbit daily meals along the bottom here.
What about second breakfast?
So you have breakfast, second breakfast, 11sies, luncheon, afternoon tea, dinner, and supper.
What about 11sies? Luncheon, afternoon tea, dinner, supper.
Which I believe comes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is one more than I think the book says. The book says they would like 6 meals a day if they can get it. This happens to list 7, so that may just be Merry and Pippin. I'm not sure if there's a spot in the books that the list comes from. Interestingly enough, this is obviously a child's toy, but it is a collector child's toy. And there's actually a content warning along the bottom that says content age grade 13+. So I'm sure they had to do that because the movies are PG-13 movies, and so they have to grade the content if you were to actually engage with the films that this product is coming from. In the background, we can see the bag and Hobbit hole, which looks very nice here and gives a nice backdrop to them in case you want to keep them in the box. But today we are unboxing, so let's go ahead and get this open and see what we think of these figures. So there is a tab here that I'm going to go ahead and slice with my X-Acto, and let's see how it opens then. I think this slides down. In case I do want to keep it in the box, we want to keep the box as intact as we can. So we're going to see, we just lift that up. Okay, and that opens up quite nicely. And then we should be able to get the figures out. There is a really fun detail here. I'm not sure if you can see. When you fold that down on the gate, there's now the sign that says no admittance except on party business. Obviously, that's the gate at Bag End at the time of the long expected party. So let's go ahead and get these figures out. Let's see what we can do here. So it looks like we can slide this out, and we'll set the front of the box aside for now. And we'll start with Pippin here. All right, there's Pippin. You can see that they have added the detail of furry feet on there. He is carrying his sword, the barrow blade sword, but of course we don't know that in the films because the barrow blades are eliminated, and I think Strider just gives them some swords.
These are for you. Keep them close. I'm going to have a look around.
Randomly. Okay, let's get Merry out here. Merry-a-duck, depending on what you want to call him. Once again, he's a good representation of a hobbit. He's got the furry feet, he's got the sword. I'm trying to see if these are actually the same mold. I'm just looking at them here. Their hair is not the same, so the hair might be a separate mold. But as far as their swords go, their coats, everything like that, they might be the exact same mold. Checking here. Interestingly, they are wearing their elven cloaks, which are of course key to their story. When Pippin drops the brooch there, of course that's key to Strider tracking them. But of course, they wouldn't be wearing those costumes at Bag End, and they wouldn't have the swords. So even though we have the nice Bag End background to this whole thing, which really looks nice, these are obviously figures from later on in the story. So let's go ahead and get Frodo out here. Again, like I said, there's another version of Frodo that's actually clear. And then I have the first version of Frodo that is holding the ring behind me here, which I'll grab down in just a second. So we have him also wearing the elven cloak. He may also be the same mold, but a different paint job on the sword. So he's using Sting here, not his barrow blade. You can see it glowing blue, and he's got furry feet as well. And then he's got the detail of the ring hanging down there, but he's not holding it. So let's go ahead and grab the other Frodo so we can compare. Here's Frodo from the old set, and very similar mold. Skin tone is interestingly not the same. And let's just see how the skin tone matches up here. Yeah, so these ones are much paler plastic. These new Hobbits are much paler plastic than the old one, which is much more kind of a reddish. At first I thought maybe that was to show Frodo's sickening, but given the fact that the other Hobbits have the same skin tone, I think it's just a difference in the plastic that was used. So it looks like he's wearing pretty much the same clothes, the same costume, but in this one he's holding the ring, which is obviously way oversized to show detail. That would not go on his finger. And in this one he's wearing the ring outside his clothes, which of course is just a detail for us. He wouldn't actually do that, but that one is much more likely to go on to a finger this size. So there you go. Just a little comparison between the two of them. Both wearing elven cloaks here, so post-Lothlorien, interestingly enough. Okay, let's put this Frodo back here, and let's get the really important guy here. Good old Master Samwise. We'll see how he's doing here. Okay, here's Sam. He, interestingly, appears to have the shortest amount of hair of any of the Hobbits, which is probably based on the movie. And then he's holding not his barrow blade, but his frying pan, classic frying pan. So this happens sometime before he abandons the frying pan, which is near the end of the story. He's wearing his elven cloak as well from Lothlorien, and he has kind of an interesting look on his face here. So it's almost kind of just looking at the others to see if they all have the same smile on their faces, and they don't. They all have a little bit different smiles, but Sam definitely has this determined kind of half smile on his face, which is a perfect expression for him to have. So these are the 4 Hobbits from the Little People Hobbit set. Only difference, I believe, in this set and the other one is just the invisible Frodo. So the other one has Frodo in kind of a clear plastic. So that's just a little bit of detail. I don't know that I'll ever get that set since I already have all of the Hobbits here, but these will be a great addition to my Little People Lord of the Rings set. Nicely made. Fisher-Price has done a good job on these kind of collector Little People, putting a lot of detail in them where they're still obviously distinctly Little People. They have the same base. They'll fit on the same pieces. They could be played in the same set as Little People, but being great collector's edition. So of these 4, I think the detail that I like best here is probably just that Sam's got his frying pan. That just makes him a little bit unique from the other Hobbits, which he certainly is unique from the other Hobbits. So instead of just keeping his mold the same and giving him a sword, which he obviously has, they gave him the frying pan, which I think is really fun. I do like the artwork here. So overall, I would say this is a great piece for a Lord of the Rings collector or for a kid that you're trying to get into Lord of the Rings. Obviously, Little People are very durable. They're going to hold up well. It's a good way to introduce kids to the characters of the Lord of the Rings. And so we've had a lot of fun with the original set up here, doing that with my girls, and this will just be another way to introduce these Hobbits into their lives. So I like this a lot. If you're into the Lord of the Rings and into Little People or into collecting, then I think this is probably a good set for you. Just did a quick price check on this, and it looks like this ranges from about $20 to about $35, depending on where you're getting it from. Now that's going to do it for this video today. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you've gotten this set or other Little People set of the Lord of the Rings, go ahead, drop down in the comments. Let me know what you've thought about them. Let me know if there's other collector's items that you have that you're particularly fond of. Until next time, farewell wherever you fare, and may your ears receive you at your journey's end.